intro just for us.
That was amazing.
Nice.
Kat, you rock. You rock.
I wasn't even expecting that.
I know. Kat's in the background, you guys, but she's got to go in a minute. She's at the List Perfectly convention, and she has let me take over for the night, and I knew I had to bring it. I love Kat, so I'm like, I'm going to get the best of my friends I can, and luckily,
Yes. Oh,
no
we're
matter
the
how
best right
busy,
here.
they said yes, you guys. So we're going to do round robin. And I'm going to let you guys introduce as if you don't already know who these people are. But hey, look, we do have a surprise. Lindey's come out of hiding, so that's going to be good.
We got her out.
Lindey.
We got her out.
All right, so let me make Jocelyn big. You guys, you know, on my channel, it always takes me a couple of rounds to get in the groove to do this right. But hang on. Let's see. I did it.
All right. I am Jocelyn. My channel is Crazy Lamp Lady. And I resell stuff, mostly antiques. Glass and pottery is my specialty. And yeah, go check out my channel if you haven't already.
Thank you, Lindey.
That's all I've got.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Sorry. And here comes Lindey.
No, you're
Sorry.
good. Also, I'm sorry if you guys hear Laurel. Laurel might be fussing in the background. So for those of you who know Laurel, she's a little fussy right now.
Oh, we would love to see Laurel.
Yeah, she's a little fussy.
So now here comes Lindey. Here comes Lindey, and I hope Benjamin's around.
No, he's not. I actually stayed at the store today to try to do this uninterrupted and I didn't want to like race home and have to be all frantic because if I'm in a time crunch, which I would have been, I like to relax. So I'm just here at the store all by myself. Hi, everybody. I'm Lindey. In case you don't know me, my YouTube channel is Lindey Glenn. Been on YouTube for a while talking about selling on eBay, and I have since evolved into not only selling on eBay, but also selling on other e-commerce platforms. And then I opened up a bin store. So that's been kind of my new adventure. That's where I am. It's my store. It's all over there. So that's where I am. Unfortunately, I haven't been posting as much on YouTube since I opened the store, but fingers crossed, I can start posting at least a few videos here and there. So I guess go check me out if you have never checked me out before.
Thank you, Lindey. It's so good to see you again and to work with you. It's been a couple years now.
I know. I miss you.
I miss you too. We used to do so much together. Okay, anyways, here comes Dom, our handsome co-host.
Hey, thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank Kat for allowing us to come on tonight, and Yvon for inviting me on here. I feel out of my league with these lovely ladies tonight, but I'm going to try to hold my own. My name's Dominic. I go by the Primetime Treasure Hunter. As my name indicates, I love to hunt for treasures, all sorts, all kinds. I specialize in anything really vintage and collectible. Love comic books, as you could tell from behind me. Love toys, but I have tons of estate sale, garage sale, flea market, videos, and all sorts of other types of vids on my channel if you want to come check it out and join me on my treasure hunting adventures. I also run the Reselling Resource Center on Facebook. That's over 30,000 members there, and Whatnot for resellers as well. That's the biggest Facebook group dedicated to Whatnot. So if you're interested in that, come on by and check it out. So that's the basic summary. And again, I'm honored to be here tonight.
Oh, thank you so much, Dom. Let me remember how to get us all in here. There we are. Thank you so much, you guys. Oh my gosh, thank you, thank you. And just so you know, I did try to get Mrs. Primetime on too, but I'm still working on her. Someday it'll happen. But if you're watching, Pamela, hi, sweetie.
She's watching, and she's a fan of all of you and watches you and follows you on social media. Yeah, that's one thing I will say about Whatnot for sure. That definitely was a positive. That was the one forum that got Mrs. Primetime not on camera, but you were able to hear her, and she did her jewelry shows, and she had a lot of fun interacting with people, and she actually set up her own Instagram account, Mrs._Primetime. So it did get her out of that. A little bit out of the bubble. Not on camera yet, but maybe one day.
Okay, so I see you all in the chat. We're all getting lots of love. Thank you, guys. I hope you guys are proud of me for bringing you this awesome group of people. Thank you so much. And send good thoughts to Kat. She's going to be speaking any moment now at the List Perfectly convention, and that's where Rod is at too. So hi in the chat. Now bear with me if I don't do this as perfectly as Kat. but Jocelyn is helping to star questions. So I will flip them over and we will do round robin style. Of course, if there's something we don't know, we might pass over. Thank you, Patty. Thank you. And thank you to them, though, for saying yes. They're all so busy. So thank you. But we see you guys. But on this show, I do need to start with the questions, okay? And thank you to the mods. Thank you so much. And a special thank you to Scott Cha-Ching King for coming over and helping out extra tonight. Thank you, Scott. And
Thanks,
he
Scott.
will be dropping everybody's links now and then, okay? So if for some reason you don't know and already follow everybody, I'm going to get crunchy. I can't help you if you don't know who these people are. I don't know what to say. All right, so I think I start up here. We'll show the question. Chickadee's Attic. How do you keep track of mileage and receipts? Any recommendation apps, software, etc.?
I forgive me, I haven't been on one of these in a very long time. Do I start by answering or do you start, Yvonne?
Yeah, you're first, hon. You're in the hot seat.
I'm in the hot seat. Okay, all right, I can handle this. So we use QuickBooks. We have QuickBooks. I have a bookkeeper, and then we also have an accountant. I know a lot of people keep a actual spreadsheet of every single item that they buy, how much they pay for it, how much they sell it for. We just keep receipts of, we went here, this is how much we spent, and we just keep track of how much money comes in and how much money goes out. We don't really keep track of every single item. We just bring in too much volume to make any sense of that. As far as mileage goes, there's a mileage tracker app as well. I believe QuickBooks Intuit is the one that I have. And it just tracks all my mileage. And when I'm done with a trip, at the end of the day, I just swipe one way for personal, the other way for business. And I track my mileage that way. But QuickBooks is what I use.
Okay. And Miss Lindey?
So I don't actually track my mileage anymore. As I know that there's a couple of different ways that you can do your vehicle allowance and all of that with taxes. So now I'm actually an LLC with an S Corp. So I just basically, anything having to do with my vehicle, I just charge. I don't track mileage anymore. I'm trying to remember the app that I used to use when I was tracking mileage. I think it was called Mile IQ. Does that still exist? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
Does it still exist, Yeah. So I did use Mile IQ for a really long time. If you do a lot of driving, it's actually very helpful because the app, it gets triggered when your vehicle is in motion. And then all of the distances, you either swipe left or swipe right, depending on if it was a personal trip or a business trip. So as long as you can keep up with it, that's a good way to track your mileage because it will track like every 10th of a mile. And so that's really helpful. And then I would just log that into a spreadsheet and give that to my accountant. And then when it comes to receipts, I do not, this is probably bad to say, I don't keep receipts because it's all digital. Everything runs through our bank account. The bank account is linked to QuickBooks. We also use QuickBooks. So, there's a digital record of it. So we don't really hang on to receipts. The only receipts that I would ever hang on to would be the ones that I would use if I were to use cash at like a yard sale or something. But if I use a card, I don't hang on to receipts. And QuickBooks is what I use only because GoDaddy Bookkeeping let us all down and shut down their bookkeeping software. That's the only reason I use QuickBooks now.
All right. I'll answer in a second, but just funny behind the scenes YouTube story for a moment. We've all kind of been there. If you're wondering why I got up, I went to pour myself a glass of water and I didn't realize that the glass actually had a hole on the bottom of it. So when I brought it over, all the water poured down all over me. So I'm like soaking wet. So that's how I started off. But anyway, as anyone knows who follows my channel, this is kind of typical. But anyway, yes, I've not used Mile IQ, but a lot of people highly recommend it. I'm pretty old school with this stuff. So I have an Excel spreadsheet that I use. I track all of my receipts, go right into there. I got into a routine that whenever I get something that requires a receipt, as soon as I come into the house, I put it in a certain designated location right next to my laptop, and either right then and there, I enter it into my Excel spreadsheet to account for it, typically as inventory, but sometimes as supplies. And then at the end of the year, I just tabulate it all up. When I go out sourcing, I get receipts for anything that I pay in cash for, and I just keep all that stuff to the side as well. And for mileage, I just snap a photo of the odometer before I leave and snap a photo when I get back, and I just calculate the difference when I get back and enter that in. So that will work as long as you are very structured and just keep that routine. You don't need anything fancy. You could just use an Excel spreadsheet. It's up to you. It's personal.
Okay. For me, I also just keep my receipts. I'm a big thrifter. I just keep my receipts. If it is a garage sale or something, I just write it out myself. Now, I'm kind of old school. I've always kind of done them myself because I'm just part-time and a little bit smaller. So at the end of the year, which it should be monthly, but I'm going to be honest, at the end of the year, I'm hustling and I'm adding them all up and, you know, putting in the totals. I personally, to save money, I do that part myself and hand it to my accountant, who then just punches in the numbers, and, you know, she knows whatever good breaks there are that year in the tax code, you know, to get for us. She kind of cautions me if I need to make more money or less money, or buy, like, you know, when I'm on that borderline, you know, like, well, if you would have, you know, spent a little bit more, you know, you would have dropped down to this tax bracket, you know what I'm saying? But, and plus, since I got married, you know, Steve works a secular job, and, you know, so that brings in some other elements that I didn't have, you know, like some of his, you know, 401s and things like that. Mileage, oh gosh, I should pass, but here again, I'm going to be forthcoming. I need to use an app, but I swear if I have to put one more app on my phone that tracks me, I'm going to die. But so every, I've never said the name of my accountant, so I hope the IRS isn't watching. But the last couple of years, my accountant has forgiven me, and we just kind of do an estimate. But she's on my butt, like, Yvonne, this is the last time you tell me what your actual mileage is. So I'm either going to have to do the app, or I'm going to have the little notebook, because you can't just track it from the time you leave your house. Like, say I went to the Walmart first. Well, I don't get to count that. I can count from Walmart to the Goodwill. You see what I'm saying? So it's a little bit tricky. So an app would help, and there are plenty.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah. Sure.
I got a suggestion.
Yay.
So when I first started tracking mileage years ago, before I used an app or anything, I basically wrote down the distance between my house and the places that I would frequent. And I wouldn't necessarily worry about like the distance between two places or anything, but I would know, okay, well, if I go to the Goodwill in Junction City, that's a 2.5 mile round trip. If I go here in Manhattan, that's a 18.5 mile round trip. And then at the end of the day, I would just say, where did I go? I went to that Goodwill, I went to that Goodwill, and I went there. And I would just, that's the mileage I would use. Gotcha. It might not have been exact, but I mean, it's close enough. I mean, it's close enough for an estimate, you know?
Yes.
I mean,
true. Very true. Okay. Let me get to the next one. What was the defining moment in your, wait a minute. What was the defining moment that your YouTube channel took off sky high? Well, I'm still waiting for that to happen. What trick or tips do you give a newbie trying to grow a channel? Well, these people will give you good answers. Jocelyn, tell us all your secrets.
All my secrets. Okay. Well, I actually had a metal detecting channel first. I saw that Cha-Ching King had posted that down in the comments. Thank you for that, by the way. I started out with a metal detecting channel. I was about 70,000 subscribers into the metal detecting channel when it was winter and the ground was frozen. And I'm like, what am I going to do for content? I know, I'll do my other, you know, side hustle. I'll go thrifting. So I started posting videos of thrifting when the ground was frozen and I couldn't go metal detecting. And I was like posting thrifting videos on and off. And I had one video go viral. on my metal detecting channel. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Because I'd never had a video go viral on metal detecting, but this thrifting video just took off. And I was like, this is amazing. I realized that there is something here and I need to replicate this and I need to start a new channel. So I started a second channel, Crazy Lamp Lady, and I grew that to about 5,000-6,000, and I put out a video and it took off and it went crazy again. But I think that part of what helped that take off was at the same time, Curiosity Inc. was putting out their Hoarded House series. And I think that somehow my videos ended up in the recommended of their videos. So it was kind of like, it's a team effort. His videos started, getting a lot of traction. And because my videos were right there in the recommended, a lot of people were clicking over to my videos, and my channel grew by about 30,000 subscribers in 1 month, in my first few months of having the Crazy Lamp Lady channel. And so it just took off, and it was just absolutely crazy because I'd worked so hard on that metal detecting channel for so long, and I just poured my heart and soul into it, and I could not make it work. And then just to have the thrifting videos take off like they did, it was crazy. It was nuts. And I just was like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I think just as far as tips and tricks for a newbie, just, follow your path. When you see something is working for you, go for it. That's what I had to do. I was working so hard at the metal detecting thing. I was sponsored by a metal detector manufacturer. They were sending me all over the world, but I saw that the thrifting videos worked, and I'm like, this is what I have to do. This is what works for me. It wasn't really what I intended to do. It wasn't what I set out to do, but let's do thrifting videos. So that's how it ended up. So that's
I've been saying it for years, and I still believe it to be true. It was a complete accident. It was a complete and total accident. So when I started my channel, I was actually reselling things that I wasn't hearing anybody talk about. In hindsight, the reason why people were probably not talking about it was because as soon as people started talking about it, you couldn't sell that kind of stuff anymore. That probably had a lot to do with it. But of course, I didn't realize the power of YouTube and social media at the time. And so, I had been watching reseller videos, and I was just, a stay-at-home mom with a new baby. And I had history of selling on eBay, and I had, random things that I would go sell, and nobody on YouTube was talking about it. And so I just decided, maybe I'll just put out a couple. I honestly don't know what possessed me to put out videos. I really don't. Even to this day, I'm like, what was I thinking? I don't know what I was thinking. But I put out some videos, and a couple people watched them. Somehow they got recommended. And then I would just gain, maybe 100 followers a week. And then it turned into 1,000 followers in a month. And I would say that the biggest thing was probably consistency. So I think that the first couple of videos that started getting views, I think a lot of that had to do with luck and perhaps talking about things that nobody else had heard before. Because people were curious, the videos were titled things that nobody was talking about. The videos were about things that nobody was talking about in the reselling world. And so I think people were curious. But I think the real growth came from consistency. So, I had nothing better to do but to sell, take care of my kids, and put out videos. So I was cranking out, 4 or 5 videos a week. I was really enjoying it because I was learning, what kind of filming style I liked, what kind of editing style I liked. And I was just kind of learning as I went. And I think it was that consistency that just kept getting me recommended. And then fast forward to 2020, the year nobody likes to talk about. That was also, I don't know if it was luck or good timing, but the week before the pandemic happened, I had a video where it was like I guess it was a what sold video. And on the video thumbnail, I guess it got people's attention because it had a big dollar amount. It was like $8,000, $8,000 something dollars. And then my thumbnail said, sell these now. And it was $8,000. That video was probably, I guess if you compare it to other videos, it doesn't have as many views. But when you think about the viral aspect, that one is really the only one I had that actually went viral and got, over 100,000 views in a month. That to me is viral. 100,000 views in a month. I have some videos that have a few 100,000 views, but that's over years and years and years. But that I think drew a lot of new people to my channel because everyone is stuck at home because of the pandemic. People want to figure out how to make money from home, and then a whole bunch of new people found my channel. And then from there, again, it was about consistency. And so that's when I think my channel really started to snowball, because new people were stuck at home, and everybody's watching YouTube during the pandemic, and people are wanting to figure out how to make money. And so it's all about consistency. If you're wanting to grow a following of any kind, whether it's YouTube or social media of some kind, there has to be consistency. And now I say all of that when I have basically fallen off the face of the social media planet the last like 2 years. Like nobody's seen me or heard from me. But I'm not trying to grow, so I guess I'm not being a hypocrite. But yeah, it's definitely about consistency. You have like your viewers and your followers want to know when you're going to post, and so does YouTube. That matters to YouTube too. Consistency matters to YouTube because YouTube doesn't want to promote content if you're not going to be consistent, and viewers are not going to be able to rely on your content. So that's what I have to say about that.
All right. That's awesome. Great tips and advice. I'm still waiting for that defining moment. I'm still waiting for it to happen. But I'd say there have been a couple of like milestone points for my channel over the years. One of the funnier ones is when I first started about 5 years ago. I didn't even realize it at the time. I did this video called How to Save a Ton of Money by Using the Padded Flat Rate USPS Envelope. If I would have known that video had almost at this point hit 200,000 views, I would not have filmed it with a food stain on my shirt. I don't know what it is with me spilling things on me, but so that was the first one that kind of took off. And after that, I mean, one of the things that I did, I'm kind of answering both questions at once, but I made sure I did a lot of collaborating with people because early on, no one knows who you are when you're starting a channel by yourself. So I think it's important to try to collaborate with good people and, just try to do something together. And I think that helped initially. I was a relatively early adapter to YouTube, not one of the first original ones in the reselling space, but I kind of came in during that second wave before the pandemic happened and it got flooded with a bunch of people who were home and just started YouTube channels. So I think that that's helped. I will also answer your questions by telling you what not to do. Well, at least for me, my opinion, I feel like I made a lot of mistakes with my channel and having content that was too varied. In one way, that was a positive thing, but in another way, it was a bad thing. I mean, it was good because people could come on and you never know what I was going to talk about. But I have over 1,100 videos. There are videos that cover anything from shipping tips to haul videos, treasure hunting videos, what sold videos, a live show every week for like 3 to 4 years, and you never knew who was going to come on as a guest. So it was varied content. But one of the things I started to realize more and more over time is that the people who are watching my channel, what they really liked the most was the sourcing videos. So that's what I decided to focus on. So I don't know, I'd say over maybe the last 6, 7, 8 months or so, that's pretty much primarily what I've done and I've focused on that. I think actually all year except my first video that I did. So everything's been sourcing. I think the one video that beyond that one with the priority shipping rate, that was more one like Lindey was talking about. Sometimes you have these ones that grow over time and they just accumulate. It's not like instantly viral. But the one that really took off was I did one where I went to an estate sale and I found in a yearbook a signed autograph by Frank Sinatra and some other famous singers from back in the day, and it was worth many thousands of dollars. And then the family saw I actually think Jocelyn commented on this video. I remember this. I remember you commented.
I sure did. I remember I commented on that one.
Right. I do remember that. It stuck out to me. The basically what happened is the family found out that I put out a YouTube video about it and contacted me, and they wanted it back. And so that led to a subsequent video called They Want It Back, and everyone was just going crazy over this. And I didn't know, I made a decision on what to do before I put the video out, and I thought I might get hammered, but I was surprised. Everyone was pretty much supporting me and what I decided. I won't spoil it for those of you who didn't watch it, but that was
Go
really
watch.
when it took off. And then lastly, about a year ago, I did one called Best Estate Sale Ever, and that'll be my first video. Pretty soon should hit 300,000 views, but that's, you know, also over time, but that instantly was very popular. So there've been some things here and there, you know, but I wouldn't say there's been like one like massive thing that just, you know, distinguishes itself from everything. It's more certain things over time. One last thing I'll just mention that helped me early on is when I did a collaboration with Craigslist Hunter. Shout out to Craigslist Hunter, because he was one of my inspirations early on in the reselling space and very helpful to me. I did a collaboration video with him in Chicago, went to his store because I was out there for a conference, and he gave me a nice shout out on his channel. And my gosh, that just, I got flooded with subscribers after that. So that was very helpful, and it stands out to me. So thank you, Pete, if you got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Pete also gave me a shout out.
Yes, he did.
And then can I say one more thing? It's funny that both the videos that both of you mentioned are both videos that popped up in my recommended. So both of your videos that, you know, got the most views over the shortest amount of time are both views that I'm scrolling through and I'm like, oh, hey, look. Oh, that's Lindey. Or, oh, hey, look. Oh, Dom. I'll click on that. So both of the videos that you mentioned were both videos that I'm just randomly scrolling through. And here they are on my recommended. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Which is another great point for newbies. Please, please, please make sure you focus on your titles and your thumbnails. They're so, so important.
Thumbnails.
Yeah.
Thumbnails.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, Yvonne.
No, it's okay. You guys are great. I really, seriously. So what happened to me was there was only a few channels. The biggest one was a collab with Golden Finger Picker, Craigslist Hunter, and Ronnie Hart, who I don't think is active. And there were a couple other channels, and I would watch them religiously every morning. And little by little, they got to know me in the chat. And a couple other people joined. Deb Pinching Pesos. You guys, some of you older people might that are older, as in have been watching the YouTube resellers for a while, you might remember, and Tanya Thrifting Treasures, and anyways, and so little by little, they finally got me to be on their panel shows as a guest, and so I did a lot of panel shows as a guest, and then finally I'm like, you know, okay, I can do this too, I can do it, and so I started my channel. Oh my gosh, for any of you that are new, go back and watch any, this has been said a million times, go back and watch anybody's first videos. Mine are still up. I left them up. You will not be intimidated. You'll be like, oh, I get it. It's a hot mess at first, and then you get better. Yeah. So just that will, it might burst your bubble of us, but just look at how we've grown. And, you know, we buy more equipment. We get more comfortable. We quit worrying so much about what we're going to say wrong if we do, or, you know, how we look. It just gets a lot easier. So, but I think a defining moment was, again, when I started to be consistent. They've already said consistency. And I've made a lot of good friends that, I mean, long term. I've got some YouTube friends that aren't even posting anymore, you know, from the beginning days. And Lindey, it's been 6 years now, I think.
Yeah, my
Jocelyn's been
first
3 years.
2016. Golly.
Oh, and Dom, you didn't mention the thrift battle, because that was epic. That was some epic stuff. You didn't mention that. So consistency, like they all said. Don't worry. If you want to do it, just get started. You will find your tribe. People will forgive your faux pas. It just makes us human. What was I going to say? One thing, though, do not be a social climber. Don't do it. Don't mix with other social climbers. Be careful. And I won't elaborate any more on that, because I've done it and other people have done it on other cat shows. We're going to move on to another question.
You're going to have to show me those shows. I missed those ones.
Oh, and, you know, getting shout outs from some people that you're truly their friend, and they give you a shout out. I don't want you all bombarding people, but all three of these people in the chat have given me shout outs, which brought me a lot of, subs overnight. So all three of these people. So, but be a good friend. You don't just hit somebody up and go, hey, I'm here. Can I have a shout out? Can I collab? It doesn't work like that, especially with those of us that have been on for a while and have been burned. Okay. I don't mean to get crunchy, but none of them got crunchy. So I'll do it for y'all. Okay. So there you go. They're being on their best behavior. All right. So next question. All right. Mr. Bob asked, hi, Mr. Bob, do you list every day? And if so, how many items per day? I'm assuming eBay, or maybe you use List Perfectly and cross list, but Jocelyn, go ahead.
Do I list every day? That's a tricky question. I list whenever I have time, which is like in the morning. If I wake up before the kids wake up, I will list. If I'm like sitting around not doing anything, I'll get on Whatnot and I'll preload my items. If the kids are in the living room watching TV and I have my laptop there, I will list items. But do I list every day? I don't know if I list every day. I run auctions every Tuesday through Sunday. I have like a schedule of eBay auctions every Tuesday through Sunday. And I kind of sprinkle in buy it nows every so often. Whatnot sales, I was doing 2 a month, but I recently started doing 1 every Wednesday, which is just a bit more. And I'm just kind of like getting used to it. So it's a little bit more listing, preloading stuff, because I like to have all of my items preloaded. But it's pretty easy to preload on Whatnot. So as far as eBay goes, I wouldn't say I list every day, but between the 2 platforms, yes, I list every day. Today I listed, I should say last night, between the hours of 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., I listed 15 items, and some items on Whatnot. And then today I listed probably about 10 more on eBay. And all my auctions went live right now. What time is it? Yeah, they went live at 7. So
yeah,
I did it.
Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. The kids love Tuesday. They're like, oh, it's Tuesday. But you know what? We get DoorDash on Tuesday nights. So they like that.
I do not list every day. Mostly because I have so many irons in the fire. But what I will say is, if you are worried about listing every day, I wouldn't worry about listing every day. Does it help sales to list more? Yes, it absolutely does. There could be crickets on eBay, and then suddenly I list 5 things and suddenly something awakens and I start selling stuff. I think it's more important to just be in your eBay account, even if you're not listing anything, run sales, maybe make adjustments to some of your active listings. If you know that you're not going to have time to list, at least go into your eBay account and scroll, do things like scroll through your account. And this is one of the things I've been saying for years. All you have to do is say the word eBay and you'll get a notification. I swear. It's crazy. There will be some times where I won't have any sales, and I'll open up my phone and I'll say, why don't I have any sales? And I'll just start scrolling through my phone. And sure enough, 15 minutes later, I'll get an offer. It's weird. eBay doesn't like to be ignored. eBay doesn't like to be ignored. So even if you can't list, just open up the app, maybe make a couple of edits, maybe start a sale or run a markdown or a promotion. Also kind of train yourself to, this might be bad advice, I don't know. Train yourself to get items up without making a huge production out of it. For instance, this afternoon, I have 3 items sitting over here. I had maybe 10 minutes and I'm just like, what should I do? Oh, I need to get these items on eBay because one of them has an expiration date. And I was able to get up 3 items in under 10 minutes only because I didn't make a big fuss over it. It was like super basic listing, super basic photos, and I just got it up. The reason why I say that is I always use my dad as an example. My dad makes a production out of doing eBay listings. My dad will break out he'll take 3 different types of pictures with rulers, and he'll take every single angle you could think of, and he will be super descriptive in the description. And I'm just like, Dad, just get the listing up. Like, why does it take you a half an hour to list one thing? Just get the listing up. And I think that is where a lot of people struggle with the idea of, I don't have the time to list every single day. My suggestion is, don't make a production out of the listing. Just get the stuff up. And if you truly don't have time to get any listings up, just do something in your eBay account. Just do something in your eBay account. And I think that'll keep eBay feeling enough love that it will show you some favoritism for the stuff that's already up.
Yeah, that's great advice. eBay does love activity. And so just doing something, even modifying a listing, really can help. I do list every day, at least one item. For those who don't know, I also have a full-time job. I work as a neuropsychologist in a hospital. So I've got a lot of different things that I balance and a lot of other personal things on the side too, as well as family life. So, but when I get back into reselling mode here, I target what I have the most of, which are comics. And so I always try to list something associated with comic books first, and then also something that's a bulkier type of item. So I could always make space, because if you're going out and replenishing items at estate sales frequently, you need space to be able to do that. Trying to just get into a structure and a routine for me is very, very helpful, as I mentioned earlier, with how I do things with receipts and how I do things with keeping track of miles. If you could get yourself into that habit, into that set routine every single day, that's why every other month on my Facebook group, we do a listing challenge. And the whole goal is every day to get people into it, the challenge, to accept the challenge of trying to list at least something every day. Then one week we might go up to like 2, the next week 3, 4, just to build it up as much as you can. If you have more time, like Jocelyn said, I'll list as many possible things as I can, 10, 20 or more. But it really just depends on the situation. Every day is different.
Well, you guys, I can't really add too much to that. So in order to hit more questions, and then also if you're watching this later, please turn on the chat and put it on all messages, because there are a lot of smart people in the chat too that are adding to this answer. Okay, Bob? Thank you, love. Let's see. This is the next one. Would you ever buy an item to sell that is personalized with someone's name?
It depends on the item. It really depends on the item and the name. Depends on how obscure the name is. But I usually tend to avoid items that are personalized, or even souvenir items. I don't usually pick up souvenir items, because even those are pretty, for me, they sit. I don't know. I guess it depends on the souvenir though, I guess that's my answer.
Lindey?
I've never had the opportunity to, so I don't know. I guess it would depend. I guess it would depend on the item. Now, if it was like an autograph that was worth money, then yeah, I probably would. But beyond that, I don't know. I've never had the opportunity to buy something personalized with someone's name, so I don't know.
Well, me going to a lot of estate sales, it's pretty common for me to, and especially with me sourcing books, that's another thing I do a lot with. It's pretty common for someone to have written their name on the inside of a book. So technically, I mean, that would be considered personalized. It really doesn't hurt the value much of the book. Sometimes you can't even really make out what the name is anyway. Sometimes people actually like if there's a little inscription inside and they see that old font from back in the day, the way people used to write in fancy script and stuff. Sometimes that could even be a little bit of a selling point on stuff. And sometimes the other thing that's cool about it is they'll date it. So, and the date sometimes might be really close to when the book was published, and it could be, a neat little thing, especially if it's a book that's over like 100 years old or something like that. Like Lindey said, I mentioned earlier with the Frank Sinatra signature, I will pick up signed pieces and stuff like that. And then another thing to look into would be sometimes I've come across old military yearbooks. And so one of the things that's interesting with that is that sometimes a family member will contact me on eBay and they'll say, hey, I think that my dad's name might be in that yearbook. Could you let me know and see if it's in there? And I'll look it up. I'll say, yeah, it's in here. And I'll send a screenshot, and they buy it in like 2 seconds because they want that as part of their family history. They might have lost it or just never even knew it existed until they saw the book. So those are examples of where I do that.
I'll keep my answer brief so we can move to another question. I've had a yearbook scenario too, yes. And I try not to, but if it's like silver or something, well then heck yeah. But I did buy something. It was too awesome. I'm stuck in the 70s. It was a 70s boho mug, so cool. The kind that you would win at a carnival and they would put your name on it and it said Dave. So the name's pretty generic, right? It was like tooled into the leather. It was so cool. And it sold. It did sell. So, all right. Let's see what we have next. When you send offers, do you allow counter offers? eBay, I suppose.
I don't usually take offers. I run sales, but I don't usually take offers. Occasionally, someone will send me an offer through Messenger, and if it's been sitting for a really long time, I'll consider it. But we don't usually have offers turned on, and we don't usually take offers on items. So.
Yes, I love offers, and I love counter offers. The only thing I don't like is a lowball offer, but every lowball offer is an opportunity for a sale. It is. I have successfully converted lowball offers into sales before. I mean, I think a lot of buyers have that mentality. You don't get it if you don't ask for it. So that's when you kind of go back and forth, unless, they just keep sending you lowball offers, then in which case I just ignore it. Never decline an offer. Never decline an offer. I don't know if it's equally as bad to just ignore an offer. But yeah, don't ever decline offers. I remember I declined offers a few years ago. This is how I learned this. I declined a few offers and my store died. Like no activity in my store at all. I'm like, this is strange. And then I started countering all of my offers. And then suddenly my store was brought to life again. I think Meg's asking never decline. Why? I think eBay recognizes that as you don't want to make them money. So I think that's kind of telling eBay that you're not wanting to actually sell stuff if you're just simply declining, if you're not counter offering things. Because if you counter offer, I think, you're showing, hey, I do want to sell this, but let's, go back and forth on a price. If you just, straight up decline it, I think that sends a bad message in, eBay's algorithm or something. But yes, I do allow counter offers because even if it's a lowball offer, it's an opportunity for sure.
I don't allow counter offers, but sometimes someone will send me an offer, then I'll send a counter, then they might send a counter and negotiate that way. I do, Lindy's going to get mad at me. I do decline offers sometimes. It's extreme low ball. And Lindey, you might want to cover your ears for this next part, okay? Not only do I decline the offers if it's an extreme low ball, but I then block them and I send them a message and I tell them that they've been permanently blocked from my account. So hopefully they don't think of doing that to another seller. And I haven't had any problem, by the way, with sales by doing that. I figure I'll actually.
I'm on the same level. So.
Oh my gosh, that's hardcore.
Wow.
My kids and my wife will let Mrs. Primetime laugh every time I do it because I have this thing where I literally say, your account has been permanently banned or something like that. And they're just like, my son would be like, Dad.
But do you just always have your computer handy to go add them into the blocked bidders page?
Yeah, literally, there's a guy right now. So I'll give you an example of a guy who's going to get blocked. So literally, this just happened during the show. I have a comic up right now, Raphael, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, which is first appearance of an important character in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Casey Jones. Anyway, it's $150 comic. The guy just sent me an offer for $25. So no, I don't know. I don't want that kind of person sending me offers. I don't want to try. Yes, I know there might be once in a while where I could maybe turn someone, but we're too far apart at that point. So I'd rather just wait.
And if they do buy
I'd rather
it
just
could be
wait for the
trouble.
right. Yeah. I'd rather
Yeah.
just wait. So, but I'm not, Lindey, I'm not saying you're wrong, of course. I mean, we all have our ways, we all have our things, our habits. We can't all agree. So people just listen to different sides and do it.
I will say though, anymore, it is very rare that I get insultingly low offers. It is rare. It's not like it happens all the time. If it happened all the time, I might.
Right.
I mean, really.
Right.
If it happened like weekly or daily, I don't know, then maybe I would. But like it's like once in a blue moon, someone will send me an offer for $1, and I'm like, really? No. So I'll counter at literally the exact same amount I have it listed at. Be like, yeah, what do you think about that? And then usually they don't counter again, so I just consider it over.
Well, you guys, this is why we have a panel show.
That's right.
What suits your personality? If you're hardcore, go for it. But listen, let me add a caveat to like what Jocelyn and Dom are saying. Now, know this: they're talking about high-end items, and so sometimes, you get a little pissy. Like, who do you think you are? Wanting my $200 fur coat, for $25, because you feel like it is disrespectful, and it like insults your intelligence. It's like, what, you think I was born yesterday? That that I'm going to just be so excited to, they're just testing to see who might not know exactly what they have or something, or who hasn't had a sale for a while and might cave in.
Yeah, it is different categories too. That's true.
So people just trying, and then some people just like to haggle. They like that back and forth. But if you don't have time for it, Joss and Dom, hey, y'all ain't got time. We get it. Okay. They don't have time for that crap. Ain't nobody got time. Okay. I'm terrified to shop the bins. That might be justified. Any tips or cautionary tales? Oh my Lord, this is going to be a while. This is Pandora's box. Fixing to open.
Just so you know, the other panelists could take longer time to answer because I don't go to the bin, so I'm out on this one.
Well, my first experience ever at the bins, I walked in, I got a cart, and there was literally underwear like stuck on the wheel, and I couldn't even get the cart to go. And I'm like, what is that stuck? There was like a thong stuck to the wheel, and it was the last cart. There was no other carts, and this cart wouldn't even move because there was underwear stuck to the wheel. I'm like, so I guess this is the bins. This is fun.
That would happen to me if I went to the bins. I know it.
No, it was definitely an experience. It was an experience.
Peter's poking at you, Jocelyn. Peter's poking. He says, you must have told him you didn't have your gloves. He just outed you.
Wait, who?
Peter.
Peter. Listen, the first time I ever went, I didn't know I needed gloves, and I brought gloves every time after that. If you do go to the bins, bring your gloves. Bring a bag to carry stuff in. I didn't know I needed to do that. But gloves are a must because we found needles. We found sanitary pads. We found all sorts of goodies in the bins. But on the flip side, Andrew found silver in there. We found gold. Yeah. I mean, there is good stuff to find. I found Alfredo Barbini, which is Murano, which is really nice glass. So you can find good stuff in the bins, but you just have to be willing to get through it and elbow a few people, which is not really my thing. I used to wait until the crowd moves on, and then you'll see me digging through it. But definitely bring your gloves with you because that is a must. Gloves are a must. But it's really not that scary. I think like after the initial, like if you stand back, if you get there and you want to see the feeding frenzy, like you can stand back and experience it. But if that's not you, once it's over, they move on and you can dig through the bins. But you don't have to. If you go to the bins, you don't have to be a part of that. You can wait until it calms down a little and then you can dig in and get through it. But bring your gloves. That's my advice.
You love the bins. I know you got a bin story tucked in there somewhere.
Well, okay. So I have two different. We're talking Goodwill bins. We're talking Amazon bins. So let's start with Goodwill bins, because I did used to shop the Goodwill bins. I used to drive to Kansas City to spend all day at the Goodwill bins. Absolutely bring gloves. What Jocelyn said is right. There could be razors, there could be syringes, there could be anything in there that you can cut yourself on. But what's more important, I think, is just some sort of latex or nitrile gloves or something, because a story that I have about digging through the bins. Also, when you're digging, keep your mouth closed, because like
That's a new one. That's a new one.
So keep your mouth closed, literally keep your mouth closed, because I tend to have my mouth open when I'm being intense. And I reached in to a bin and I grabbed some clothes and I started pulling it back, and it was intense, right? I'm like, and suddenly my hand, no, what I was grabbing, my hands are weak. So I released it and I got splattered top to bottom with what I could only assume was dried vomit.
Oh,
it was particleized dried vomit in some part of the clothing that was, and when I pulled my hands back, it slingshotted all over me and my mouth was open and everything else. And all it smelled was just rotting vomit. It was one of the most disgusting experiences of my life.
wow.
So keep your mouth closed, wear gloves, try, if you're going to put your hands where you can't see, be cautious. Bring a battery pack with a cord to charge your phone, because if you're planning to be in the bins for a long time and you're going to be looking up stuff on your phone will die. So what I always kept a battery pack in one of my back pockets, and then I kept my phone in my back pocket. Keep a fanny pack near your front or tie something around your waist so that nobody can reach into your back pockets. The bins that I went to in Kansas City was notorious for people walking around reaching and stealing people's phones, stealing people's wallets. So every time I went in, I would always tie a jacket or something around my waist so that people couldn't dig in my back pockets, or I had a fanny pack or like a money belt or something that was in my front so nobody could reach in and steal. I didn't take in a purse. The only thing I brought in was a form of payment, my ID in case they needed that with the form of payment. And then I literally, in all my pockets, I had a battery pack, I had my cell phone, I had hand sanitizer, I had latex gloves. I was prepped and ready to go. Maybe a face mask would be helpful, so you don't get dried vomit in your mouth. So there's that. That's the Goodwill bins. Amazon bins. I have two different perspectives of the Amazon bins, because not only did I used to shop at them all the time, but now I own one. So the biggest thing with shopping at the Amazon bins, when I would shop there, I would make sure to have thicker gloves like this. The latex gloves just weren't enough to cut it, because there could be anything in there regarding sharp items. So many sharp things in the bins. And I know for a fact now, owning a bin store, it is almost impossible to get all of the sharp stuff out. We do our darndest to get out fish hooks and blades for blenders and things, knives, things like the sharpest things you can imagine. And we still miss stuff, and we pull it all out, and still we find stuff in the bins. But now also coming from someone who owns a bin store customer bin store customers can be vindictive jerks. So you also need to protect yourself from other customers trying to hurt you. We have had customers set mouse traps in our bins. Like we'll get mouse traps. They will open the boxes of mouse traps. They will set the mouse traps to snap when you put your fingers out. We have had people, because we have a table and a bin for all of our sharp stuff so that people, know when they're going into this one bin, everything in here is sharp. If you want a knife or if you want fish hooks or if you need blender blades or something, it's all there. People will take those items out and go strategically place them in the bins thinking that they're being funny. I don't know why they're doing this, but they will take them and they will put them back in the bins and they will hide them under something like a sheet or a piece of cloth. So someone goes to grab a sheet or something and they'll put their hand right into a whole bunch of fish hooks. So gloves like this when you go to Amazon bins, for sure, because people are horrid. People are horrid. They're just, it's bad. We have seen some crazy stuff and we're not even that busy. Like there's other bigger, badder bin stores. I can only imagine what those are like if that's what ours is like. So yeah, definitely gloves, like cut resistant gloves if you're going to Amazon bins, for sure.
Quite a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add except that these types of horror stories are why I have avoided going. Plus, there actually is not one close to me in Syracuse. The closest one is in Rochester, which is about 70 miles away. So for that reason, it's not even like, there's one sitting here for me to even go to. So
I do go to the bins once in a blue moon, maybe twice, 3 times a year. I will probably start going more because, the Goodwills and the chain thrift stores are raising their prices. And my particular bins, some of it is from the Goodwill that they didn't sell. You'll see the tags on it. And some of it is just straight up. It was donated there. They dump it out. They don't even go through it. So you're going to see things that were never at any of the Goodwills. Now, I never go alone. I always take my Colorado crew with me. I get a Starbucks. I prepare myself. I have reseller bags. One is for thrifting. I have a special reseller bag for the bins. It does include heavy duty gloves, Band-Aids, antiseptic, all that business. Okay. And what was I going to say? Oh, and I am the person that waits until they're done. I'm not the person standing waiting for them to say go. I'll wait. But one thing why it still works for me is I'm only looking for the eclectic stuff, the unusual, and I'm willing to buy the glass. A lot of people there, that is their only hustle, the bins. And so they don't really like to buy the stuff that's heavier because it's by the pound. So usually I'm just fine to mosey around, pick up some glass, pray they haven't broken it yet as they're throwing stuff around. I will say the best time I ever had at the bins was during the pandemic, and they were open, but this was so awesome, you guys. Everybody had to wear gloves and a mask and one person per bin. Now you can imagine how horrifying that was to regulars to have to wait one person per bin, because the bins really, they could have done 2 and 2, in my opinion. But that was awesome. But it also did cause a lot of fights of people who didn't know one person per bin. But that was quite lovely, I will say.
Yeah, I was going to say something I forgot to add too was if you do want to be one of the first people to go to the bin, you can't be nice. Like if you walk in there and you're like, ooh, a new bin, I'm going to go check it out first. And there's a whole bin. You can't be the nice one at the table. You've got it. No one else is going to be nice. So you don't be nice either.
They're going to cry. They're going to make you cry.
Yeah. Don't even try to be nice. You throw elbows with the best of them. Yeah. They're not going to let you be nice.
Just stay back, get the sticky underwear off your car, wait till they're done.
Bring scissors. That's the
See
other
what-
thing. Bring scissors in case
Yeah,
you
bring
got to the
scissors
store.
is Jocelyn's advice, and just wait your turn. And I will say, even though I don't go very often, even though I'm going to start going more, I do always find something epic. I will say that. I always make money. I always find something great. All right, here we go. Oh, let's see what Scott wants to know. Scott, thank you for helping out. Jocelyn, there you go. There's one for Joss.
Why you gotta rub it in? I haven't been metal detecting. I haven't been metal detecting in so long. And you know what? Andrew went out on the Susquehanna River. I think it was last week. He went out on the Susquehanna River, and I had a meeting, and I was like, oh, come on. And it was the old ferry launch, and he got quite a few things. He got like an old token. I think he got a coin. He got some really cool stuff, and I had planned on going with him, but I had a meeting. So I didn't get to go. But for me, these days, metal detecting is a spring and fall activity. I'm not really metal detecting in 14 inches of snow anymore. That was old Jocelyn. New Jocelyn is like, I'm really not up for that anymore. That was a lot.
Besides, we would all have a fit. We're used. You're hardcore fans like me. We're used to your videos every day. We're going to get upset if you're going out. We're probably going to get mad if you take a day off and go metal detecting and didn't give us a video. That's not going to sit well.
I did a detecting video. Come detecting with me. Let's go find some coins and cool stuff in a field.
As long as it's something. Okay, so we'll move to the next one. What are your thoughts on using the eBay that process, authentication? So, Jocelyn, say it for me while you answer.
Authentication process. I have no thoughts on this because they don't authenticate pottery or glass. So I'm going to pass this one this way.
I have no thoughts on it. However, I did have one item need to get authenticated. It was a pair of, was it women's Nikes? I'm not sure. It was a pair of shoes. I think they were Nikes. It was just over the threshold for needing to be authenticated. And yeah, they just got shipped to some random person in New York. And then from that random person in New York, it went to my buyer and all was well. I mean, I really have no opinion of it because I never ever thought I would utilize it. I honestly didn't know I was going to have to sell that pair of shoes. I was like, oh, this is authenticated. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it's where I've had experience with it is with selling sneakers, shoes. They'll authentic, you'll have to send them off to be authenticated after it hits a certain price point. So it gets shipped there to the authenticator first, and they look it over, and you'll get a message, and then it moves on to the buyer. I've not ever had anything sent back, so that's been good. So I haven't had any problems with it. I mean, I'm sure there's some bad stories here and there, but overall, I mean, I think it makes sense for eBay to do. They're doing it in more and more categories because there's just increasing concern out there over counterfeit items, especially in the sneaker space and other areas as well. For those who remember when I used to do the primetime news broadcast, I frequently covered that topic, which was counterfeited items. And so, again, makes sense to me.
I'm aware of it. I think it's a little pricey, isn't it? I haven't used it. I tend to avoid luxury handbags, luxury watches, sneakers that require that. I tend to avoid using eBay personally. I have other platforms, other ways, just because of the high scam probability. So I tend to kind of avoid it. But yes, they do offer that service. Let's see. There was one for Jocelyn. Let me find it. Something about bins versus, darn it, where'd that go? Oh, is it gone? Oh, this one.
How do I decide auction versus buy now? It really depends on the item. I mean, I specialize mostly in pottery and glass, and I've been selling it for years. So I can look at a piece and know, hey, I sold something similar to this. I tried auctioning it off. It didn't do very well. Maybe I'll try it buy it now this time around. But a lot of the times, judging by the market, right now, colored glass, giant swung glass faces, mid-century glass is really hot. So more, clear glass, elegant glass isn't as popular. So pieces of elegant glass and that sort of thing, I'd list buy it now. So I just kind of use my go with my gut, which I think it wasn't last auction, but the auction before that, I had a few pieces that I was like, should have listed that buy it now. One was a giant copper bird with a giant green eyeball. I think it sold for $20, and I thought to myself, I should have waited for the right buyer on that because I probably could have gotten more money for it. But I kind of just go with my gut on it, and I think, is somebody going to want to pay the shipping on this for the 5 days that I have it listed? Is somebody going to be like spontaneous and be like, I'll pay the oversized box shipping on this item? Or are they going to have to think about it for a little while if I list it buy it now? So, I mean, it really just depends on the item, and my experience in buying and selling glass and pottery. That's how I make my decision. So.
Okay. Yeah, you guys, let me add a caveat to that. And I don't, this is a problem. Sometimes, okay, when you're an experienced seller and you get questions like this, like, I don't mean to say newbie questions, forgive me for not having a better word, but I've said this before on Kat's show. Sometimes we take stuff for granted. We've been doing it so long. The process happens so fast in our head.
I know, it's just like,
we don't even know what it looks like. Like, I should have, like, if I would, like, she might be able to come back around to this later if I would give her notice, because she'd have to like sit and think and unpack that process and see what it looks like to be able to explain it. Because after a while, it just happens so fast that it's just like this. But another point to that is keep on trucking, because all you new people, you will get there too. Just keep on trucking. We've all paid some dues on some bad buys. I think Jocelyn's favorite term we hear her say is pay to learn.
Yeah. And I think if I can, I will add that, what works for me, I'm able to do auctions because we have a larger following. Not everybody would be able to auction off the items that we are able to auction off, because I think we have 54,000 followers on eBay alone. So every time we list items on eBay, 54,000 people are notified, hey, they've listed new items to auction. So, you see me auctioning off a Murano bowl starting at $4. I'm able to auction that off, but not everybody would be able to auction that off. I would advise most people to list that as buy it now. So my thought process, and when I go through deciding whether something's buy it now or auction, would be totally different than somebody else trying to decide whether it's auction or buy it now. What I always tell people who are like, oh, should I list stuff at auction? I always tell people, I would always suggest if you are determined to list items at auction, make sure you list it at the least amount you're willing to accept. I mean, that's it. I mean, we start our auctions at $4 because through doing this for years, I know that it's going to realize about what I would expect to get for it, besides that copper bird, which I'm still kicking myself for. But in usually it'll realize about what I would expect for it. So I'm able to do that because of what I've built. And it's taken years to achieve that. But I would definitely suggest that you probably do buy it now or auction at the least amount you're willing to accept. So that's my best advice.
That was a good thing to add in for those that don't know, for some reason, aren't just meeting Jocelyn. That's a good thing to know. I call it an enigma. The way what she has built is not going to work for all of us at our respective levels. Hang on, I see something. I've been waiting for one. Just checking to see if okay, you guys, can I find it? I need the Jocelyn or Dom, whoever. I need the super chat from Scott, because you guys, I got a surprise. Yes.
I don't know how to do.
I need to. Okay, let me go find it.
If you go over to the comments, Jocelyn, you should.
Yes.
If you hover over it, there should be like a plus sign on the comment, so you could.
I found it. I got it.
I don't think I have the admin.
Okay.
I have the power. I was
Okay.
told I was given the power, but I don't have the power.
All right.
All right,
Trying to
watch
stand
this, you
up.
guys. Watch
I'll cry
this.
after the show.
I had Kat load something just for tonight. Hang on. I got it. Here's your super chat, Yvonne's moment.
Mermaids.
I told her that's
I think I just heard them say, "Hey, prime time."
I accidentally hit it again. Sorry, you guys. Maybe it was my ego. I don't know. But there's a mermaid and a merman, if you didn't notice, for y'all. So I said, Kat, load this up for me. So I was hoping someone would send a super chat to Kat so I could show off. Yes. Thank you, Scott. Thanks, love.
That was great.
So let's get to the next one. Bear with me for a minute. Let me get my bearings straight. Okay, we did that one for Jaws. Oh, here's one from Sky. I'm sorry. In your opinion, do you do with a death pile of merchandise that just won't move? Bad buys.
In your opinion, do you do? Oh, what do I do with it?
Your
That's a
death
great
pile.
question. I don't know if you've ever seen my videos. That's a good question. I just look at it. That's not good. No, I try to move it on. I do. Lately,
I just look.
I actually have to say something about that after Jocelyn talks, but I hold that thought. But go ahead.
No, lately I've been trying to do like lots of stuff. So I've been lotting stuff together. Occasionally I will donate it, back to the thrift store if stuff is sitting around. I think the problem and the reason that we ended up with a lot of stuff that we don't really want or care for is some of the auctions we were buying in, where they were lotting things, and I would see like one item I wanted, but I had to buy all of the things, and I'm like, well, I don't want all the things. I just want that one thing. So then I ended up with all this stuff that I didn't really want, and so when I'm really excited about something, I want to list it. But the other stuff, I'm not really excited about it. It's going to sit around, and I'm just going to look at it. So that's kind of how the death pile starts. I'm not excited about it. I don't want to list it. And aside to that, we did a clean out, and we have a snow blower in the middle of our shop. And I'm like, Andrew, what are we going to do with the snow blower? Because we don't need a snowblower, and we got one. So it's like, we've got a snowblower. We have this big metal thing. I don't even know what it does, so it's just either you donate them back, you can sell them, yard sale, flea market, gift them to friends. I've been known to do that. I gave Jesse and Mark a bunch of stuff that they sold on Whatnot, and they actually made a profit on it. So I felt pretty good about that. I'm like, here, take my stuff that I don't want. They made money on it. So I was happy about that. But yeah, I guess that's my response to that question. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. I think it always will be.
My personal opinion, best thing to do with your death pile, if you truly know you're never going to list it, or if you just know it's a bunch of bad buys, is have a yard sale. Hands down.
Yeah.
That's the best thing to do. If you need the cash flow, that's the best thing to do. If you don't need the cash flow, it's definitely a good idea to gift it to someone else that wants to get into reselling, and maybe they want to put forth the energy to have a yard sale, or they want to try Facebook Marketplace, or they want to try to list some stuff on eBay. Even if it's just seen as almost like practice kind of stuff, because like if my teenager wanted to learn how to list on eBay, I'd just give him a bin of a death pile and be like, have fun. And she's gone.
That was Kat. I think that was Kat did something. Hi, Kat. If you're here, you must be done talking. She's trying to keep one eye on us, you guys. Kat.
Oh.
In the
She
water.
doesn't
Be
trust
on our
us.
best
She doesn't
behavior.
trust us.
Let us know she's
Best
watching.
behavior.
All right, Dom.
Well, it's funny that Jocelyn mentioned this because I have had this weird, and I know this is not true what I'm going to say. It's not, there's nothing to it, but I've had this weird experience over the past couple months where I'm going through my inventory and I look at something that has been in my eBay store for a year or more, and the next day it sells. And this happened for like, I don't know, for like a month. And it still happens occasionally. And I just laughed. I was going to make a joke video, like, here's a way to sell your stuff that's been sitting in a while. Just look at it. So when Jocelyn said that, I just started laughing. But no, obviously that's not a real strategy. But for this specific question, it makes it sound like it's stuff that is actually, it's just not moving. It's been listed already as opposed to stuff that hasn't been listed. So of course you could consider pulling it down, that's lost work, and maybe put it into a, into a yard sale. I do agree that if you have stuff like that maybe you haven't even listed yet, but you just know it's low value, it's not worth your time, then doing a yard sale is a great idea. Another thing to consider doing is to look at the items that aren't selling and to see if there's any theme that they have in common. So one thing I've done sometimes is I've taken down a couple of listings and I've combined them together to add value for the buyer, and then it sells that way because you have more of those particular items. And maybe at the time you listed it, you only had one in that theme, and then over time maybe you found a couple other ones. So combining it like that, is another suggestion.
The chat's killing me, you guys. They're killing me tonight. Okay, let's see. And those are good answers. And the chat gave you some good answers too, Sky. So I'm going to go on to a next one. This one's for me. When is my boho show? Yes, I do live sales now every Wednesday. Patty, hi, love. The boho sales with Amy Yoso Boho, who's also in the side chat here, that is scheduled for the last Wednesday of July. Don't miss the third Wednesday of July either. I haven't even told you guys what that's going to be. That's a surprise. Okay, let's see what else Patty wants. A package I ship doesn't show any movement, and the buyer is wondering where it is. What is my next step? Joss?
Okay. No, sorry, it was frozen. You all froze, and then I was like, what's happening? And then you read the end of the question, and I'm like, wait, what's happening? Okay. If it doesn't show any movement, so this happened to us. We had a sale over on Whatnot, and we sold a bunch of coffee. And then a few days after the sale, we were being contacted by our buyers that were not getting their coffee. And I'm like, what's going on? And it was all scanned in at our local post office, and it didn't move. So we had 9. This was like 5, 6, 7, and then up to 10 days later, we were getting messages. So it ended up being 9 different orders of coffee that were they were scanned in at our local post office and never moved. So Andrew wrote down all of the tracking numbers. He went to our local post office, and basically they were like, "Oh, this isn't our problem." We were like, but no, they were scanned in here and then they didn't move. So are you back there drinking our coffee? That was what I'm imagining them all sitting around in the back room, like drinking a Crazy Lamp Lady coffee. But I don't know if that's really what happened. I'm just speculating. But they're like, this isn't our problem. You have to call the 1-800 number. So that's what they told us. You have to call the 1-800 number with your tracking number. And that's what you got to do. That's what they told us. So.
No, that was Whatnot. Did you guys catch that? That was a Whatnot deal.
But I mean, in general, if it's not moving, if a package is not moving, if the tracking is not doing anything, whether it's on eBay or Whatnot, if it's a USPS, it's not moving, and you have to like check on the tracking. It was less scanned in at our post office, and that's where we went. And we had the tracking numbers, and they're like, "It's not our problem. Call the 1-800 number." So.
Yeah, it's gonna sound like a really harsh answer. Y'all know I'm not a harsh person. I'm nice. But this is a harsh answer. After I've shipped it, it's not my problem. Because listen, there's literally nothing that we can do after it has left our hands. There's nothing that we can do as the seller. So the next step is really for the platform that you sold it on to handle it. So if it's an eBay package, if the buyer contacts you and says, my package isn't delivered, just tell them you need to contact eBay. Say, unfortunately, I am just a third-party seller. I no longer have the package. It is now out of my hands. So you need to let eBay know, tell them to open up a case in eBay that your package hasn't arrived yet. Because then what'll happen is eBay will notify you that they have opened up a case. You can then upload your tracking number into the system, and then it's in eBay's hands. Most times eBay will either tell the customer that they have to wait X amount of days because maybe there's shipment delays, or eBay might just refund the buyer out of their own pocket. And because it's not your fault as the seller that the post office is slow, or it's up to the customer to contact the post office. I actually just had this happen today, believe it or not. Earlier, I had a customer message me and say, I was expecting this to be delivered on Monday. It's still not here. What am I supposed to do? And I went and I looked at their tracking. And yes, it said that it was out for delivery yesterday, but it never said delivered. So it's literally out for delivery and then nothing. And it's been, well over 24 hours. And so I just simply told the customer, I said, it's out for delivery. That means your post office has it. You need to contact your post office. There's nothing for me to do. I am not the recipient. I am the sender. So, and again, it sounds harsh, but once we ship the item, it's no longer in our control. What are we supposed to do? We're no more powerful than the customer is. As a matter of fact, the customer is more powerful than we are because they are the recipient of the package. So they actually have more power than we do. So if anything like that happens on whatever platform, it doesn't matter. If you are a third-party seller on a platform, whether it is eBay or Mercari or whatnot or Poshmark, it is the duty of the platform that the customer purchased that item on to take care of their customer. So that's just my opinion. I don't know if Dom's got any more insight to that, but that's how I've always handled it. It's kind of like, there is literally nothing that I can do. There needs to be a case open. The platform needs to take care of it.
Yeah. So what I've done, I did a video about this once, to help find your missing mail. This is specific to eBay, by the way, just FYI. But my goal is to, first of all, relax the buyer, because a lot of times they might get nervous and not understand the process and how things work through the system. So just giving them a little bit of education about that. Sometimes it takes time for packages to get scanned at different points for it to show up into the system. But then I'm also trying to delay them in terms of trying to submit a request to eBay to get a refund on it because it hasn't been delivered yet. So this has been a successful method that I've used. And if you want to follow this method, just go and type in USPS find missing mail. And what you'll do is you'll complete a help request form. You just have to submit some basic information about your item, and that'll kickstart the process where they're supposed to start trying to figure out where this is. Oftentimes that alone will magically the next day, it's kind of like looking at an item and it sells. All of a sudden the next day it shows up in the tracking system and the customer's happy. In the instances where it doesn't happen, you have to wait 7 days. After 7 days, you could submit a missing mail search request. I tell the buyers about this, and let them know what the process is. This is what we're going to do. After 7 days, I'll submit this missing mail search request. And then that has always found the item, except maybe like one time something might have gotten, completely lost, but I'm just speculating. I can't even exactly remember an instance of that, but typically using that combined method works, and the item eventually shows up. And again, I'm just trying to reassure the buyer and give myself a little time, and that system allows me to do that, and eventually it typically turns up.
I do want to add, because after hearing Dom say that, it sounds like I was super mean. Of course, don't tell the customer. Don't tell the customer. That's not my problem. Go handle it. Don't do that. I'm saying that you as the seller, there's very limited things that you can do. Definitely communicate with the customer. Don't just be like, well, not my problem. I got your money. Sucker. Don't do that. But, talk to them and let them know, well, let's try doing this. Have you contacted the post office? Have you done this? We can go file this, communicate with the customer. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is do not jump through hoops to do a whole bunch of extra stuff that the customer should really be the one doing. I say this because in the beginning, I really felt the need to kind of take the reins from the customer to make sure that they were satisfied. And it took up so much time, like all this follow up and checking on things. And it's just, it can be really time consuming. So I would say give them the tools that they need to take care of it because it is their package. But yeah, don't tell them it's not my problem. I'm just saying as sellers, it's not our problem. So anyway, okay, what's Yvonne got to say now that I'm the meanie on this question?
Just on this question. So, and there's Kat again, I guess. Hi, Kat. So, but whatever you do not automatically refund. It's not. That's
yeah,
not
don't do that
yet. You're not even close to being at that point yet. Okay. And if you're new, don't be intimidated or let anybody bully you. But always answer professionally in case push does come to shove. Because, eBay, if there's a case somewhere down the line, eBay looks at everything that was said. So always answer professionally, things like that. Okay. I saw one I wanted to. Oh, I got another super chat for Mary gave one, you guys. Hang on. So I get to show the mermaids one more time. You guys have to let me. Where did it go? Let me find it real quick. Darn it. Okay, it got buried, you guys. Sorry. Mary 365 Hunter. I hope you're following her too. She gave a super chat of $20. So thank you so much. And let me get, here we go. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this one was actually for Lindey. I'll say, oh, she's back. Okay. Lindey, there was one that was kind of more for you. Hang on. I want to show this one because Lindey's been MIA for a while. She just came back to YouTube. And so for those of you that don't know, she opened that store behind her. So here's for Lindey.
How many sites and does Lindey still list or all her store? Do I still list at the store?
Probably.
Yes.
Like, are you still selling on other platforms or is it just your store?
Yes. I do a little bit of, let's see. I can't really say a little bit of Whatnot anymore because I put Whatnot on hold because we did kind of an overhaul of the store. I really need to make another comeback video to YouTube and tell everybody what's been going on because I disappeared because there was a whole other thing that happened with the store. But I basically had to restructure my entire store. So while I still have an Amazon bin store, it's not a traditional Amazon bin store anymore. I've had to change some things. But unfortunately, that meant I had to put Whatnot on hold again. I'm going to try to figure out how to get Whatnot in there somehow, if even just a couple of times a month. But I still list a lot on eBay. eBay is still the #1 e-commerce that we're doing here. I even have, I'll show you where I'm sitting. So this is like the employee area. So there's my light box for eBay right there. So I can literally sit here and there's our checkout area. So I can literally watch the registers and list on eBay and then pause eBay and go check out customers. So we still do eBay. We do also have a Facebook group that we've been selling locally via Facebook. We have also had to put that on hold while we restructure the store, but we're also getting ready to start back up again. So we're looking at doing eBay for e-commerce. I'll probably end up cross-posting some stuff to other platforms, just not sure what yet. Doing Facebook, not necessarily Facebook Marketplace, but posting to our Facebook page and selling to other local customers via Facebook, and then they can pick up in store. So that's kind of where all of my stuff is at the moment. It's messy at the moment. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It's messy. Everything right now is real messy. It's like you can see how chaotic all this looks behind me. It's because everything business-wise is a mess for me right now, but I'm gonna figure it out.
It's not as bad as my shop.
So we'll go ahead and back up, and Jocelyn, and you can talk about where all you sell, what all platforms you use.
We're just selling on eBay and whatnot, and we have a local booth, and we're looking at opening up a store by the end of 2023. That's our goal.
Dom?
I'm pretty much mainly right now on eBay. I was selling on Whatnot for a year straight, usually twice a week. Initially, it was once a week, but I stopped that about 2 months ago. That's a long story, but temporarily, maybe permanently pausing. I don't know with the Whatnot right now, but right now it's pretty much eBay. Occasionally, we put some bulkier things over on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm thinking of possibly doing like a Shopify store in the future so I could have like my own branded store as I keep growing. But right now it's primarily eBay.
I do have a Poshmark closet. I said this last month here when I was a guest. I'm going to niche it when I have time. My thought is I'm going to niche Poshmark down to a tall girl shop and promote it in my tall girl online clubs. I sell on eBay. I haven't paid much attention to it, but I do have quite a couple shelf fulls of higher end merchandise that I think should go onto eBay. I do live YouTube sales every Wednesday now, and I'm tinkering with Whatnot. I'll be very forthcoming. I'm not 100% sold on Whatnot, but I am going over and doing raid trains because those are fun. Jocelyn invited me to a raid train as a thank you to all her mods. And oh my gosh, we all thank you, Jocelyn. It was can't really pull those numbers by myself. But a lot of us had so much fun. We're like, oh, now let's do other raid trains. So, so with my little YouTube side crew, we have some raid trains coming up. The next one is, when is that? Friday. Oh, it's Friday, right, Joss? Yeah, Jocelyn's going to be in that too. Kate, Follow That Bug Vintage is hosting that one. And there's about 5 or 6 of us, and there's nothing but cats. So it's going to be
cats. I'm so excited.
Follow That Cat. So we planned this, a month and a half ago. We've all loaded up with cats. It's already up on all of our Whatnots that you can bookmark, and our catalogs are pretty much loaded stuff. We all still keep finding stuff. That's going to be this Friday on Whatnot. I am hopeful. I am really nagging YouTube. Not that they listen to me, but I'm nagging them anytime. I'm on a survey team for YouTube creators, like answering things. And so anytime I take one of those surveys for them, in the bottom box, is there anything else you'd like to add? Oh, I'm on it. I'm like, yeah, I want you to add immediate payment button like they do on Whatnot for our YouTube sales, because then I will strictly stay on YouTube. That's my baby. eBay is rolling out live sales too, but they're being very super picky as it's in beta. Super picky. You can read about that. Yeah, you applied, I applied. Yeah, Jocelyn's applied, I applied. They're being super picky. I suspect someone like Jocelyn might get chosen before someone like me, because they're picking the big dogs for the beta testing and to roll it out. And so far they're kind of following Whatnot and they're mainly doing Funkos and collectibles, but they have added a clothing store, which is Linda Stuff. We all know Linda Stuff and eBay are like, lovers. So we'll see how that goes. It's still in beta. And I have 2 booths. Jocelyn, did you mention your booths with your mom?
I have 1 booth.
Okay. Yeah, and I have 2 booths, which I adore. I adore immensely. I meet so many local people. Was there anything else somebody wanted to add to that? We're good? Okay.
I think we're good.
Jocelyn, you got something?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Let's see. This one. Do any of you all host Whatnot classes? Go ahead, Jocelyn.
I do not host any Whatnot classes. I did film a video showing the steps of scheduling and preloading and going through the Whatnot process. It's pretty straightforward. My friend Peter, who was in the chat earlier, just went through the onboarding process, and he said it was pretty easy. I think they actually walk you through how to do the sale in the onboarding process. So if you sign up to be a seller, I'm pretty sure they walk you through it. There's really no reason to do any Whatnot classes or anything, there's no reason to pay for them either. I know there's some people out there who are charging for Whatnot classes, but there's no reason to pay for them. There's free information out there. Like I said, I'll be putting out a video. I think Kat has actually put out a few videos talking about how to do Whatnot and that. Oh yeah, Peter's right there. Look.
There's Peter.
Peter in the chat. Did they walk you through how to do a sale?
Peter just recently took one, is why we're asking Peter. It'd be the most recent. Because I think they're trying to make it, I think they're making the onboarding a little bit more informative, because some sellers that they let come on are like no experience anywhere, and it kind of makes the place look junky. So I think they're giving you more information to help new people.
Yeah. So Peter thinks we need to do a video on how to buy on Whatnot, which I agree with, because we had 5 of 50 of our sales in Sunday's sale were canceled. So I'm cool with that. We need to teach people how to bid on Whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so pretty much he says pretty much Whatnot walks you through the process of selling and how to set up a sale and get it all up and going. So Whatnot will teach you for free how to Whatnot.
Lindey,
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell your story, what you did.
Which part?
Lindey, when Lindey wants to do something, she just jumps in.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, hi. What do I do?"
I'm either 0 or 100. There is no in between.
But she did fine. It's not that hard.
And yeah, I mean, and that just kind of goes to show how I shouldn't say it's user friendly, because there is, of course, things you need to learn. It's not like you open it up and you can just suddenly see everything you're supposed to do and whatnot. But realistically, it was very straightforward, very simple. And, Jocelyn is absolutely right. There is, on the onboarding process, there is everything you need. Like during the onboarding process, they go over a whole bunch of just basic stuff, like creating the auction, adding the auctions in and doing all the super basic stuff. And then after the fact, there is this whole catalog of videos and tutorials that you can go back and refer to. So it's very straightforward. And then all you have to do is just push buttons, and you kind of can teach yourself. You're just like, what does this button do? And it'll tell you, just don't, continue on. It's very straightforward. And then, with any luck during your first show, you will learn so much more by doing your first show than you would hearing somebody tell you what to expect. I mean, that's pretty much why I like jump in all the time, because I prefer to learn by doing, because that's where you learn the most lessons, is when you're actually feet to the fire and having to figure it out, because you have people there watching you screw up. So you better figure it out, but it is a platform that I do not think it's necessary to go to classes for. It's really not that complicated. It's really not.
I mean, let me just interject. I didn't do any onboarding. They approached me about selling on the platform. I never did the onboarding. They just put me right in, and I just jumped in and I went for it. So I just figured it out as I went. So there was, and anybody who knows me knows I'm pretty technically challenged. I mean, Peter, you want to chime in there? Last night I'm like, I reset the router and it's not working and it's not coming back on. And like, this is like 10 minutes into when I was supposed to start my whatnot sale. And he's like, are the lights blinking? And I'm like, no. I barely had to wiggle like the lights weren't even blinking. So that's me in technology. And I was able, without even like going through the onboarding process and figuring out, like being told how to do it, I was able to jump right in and just, oh, this is how you do it. You just set it up and go for it, you know. But they have all the tools. They have all the tools. Peter says,
yeah,
no comment.
the tools are there. If you do it the old-fashioned way, like I had to do, because nobody contacted me and just threw me on the platform.
You just jumped right into it. Listen, I
had to apply and do the onboarding like a peasant.
I even didn't want to mess with like, is Lindey doing whatnot? What's going on? Why is she only at $10? She should be at 15. You know,
I didn't catch her in time. I told her what to do to expedite everything, but she just jumps in.
Yvonne sent me a message and she goes, "Oh my God, I hope I'm not too late." She's like, "Did you do it already? Did you do it already?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess."
I also applied back in the day. At that time, and this is over a year ago, they had tutorial videos on the website back then, which they still have. And Lindey and Jocelyn said those could be very helpful to look at. One thing I will say in terms of classes is that there are certain segments within Whatnot where they will offer you potentially the opportunity to go for specific classes that they teach. Sometimes they do these for everyone on Whatnot. They're like seller classes that they do, like Whatnot does it themselves. It's free. You don't have to pay anything for it. But then there's ones in specific niches. Like I went to one in a comic area and there was 3 straight weeks of small group. It was like a small group class basically for an hour a piece. One of them was all about marketing, for example. And I learned some really helpful things from there. And they challenge you to try different things and experiment and stuff. And I think that's one of the things that we have in common here is that we're all willing to try new things. They might not always work out the way we expect them to. Sometimes we might fail at certain things, but as long you got to be willing to throw yourself out there. I saw there was a question in the chat on how to get over that and how to initiate that process. You just have to go out and just do it. Just get started and try it. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to mess up. You'll learn things along the way and apply it to the next adventure you go on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you.
Absolutely.
What was the question again? Oh, yeah. And you know what? I think the main takeaway here is, and you guys know I get crunchy over this. I get crunchy over people who sell courses. I hope none of y'all, I don't think none of y'all do. So I give, because the information's free. And in my opinion, if you want to be in this business, you have to learn to be resourceful and doing research and like self-motivated. And if you can't figure out how to get the information free, I feel like you're behind the 8 ball already. Okay, so that's, I don't even know if anybody's charging for classes right now, but if they are, will you keep that in mind, please? That you may not need to put out your hard-earned money to pay for a specific Whatnot class when there's people, you know, willing to talk about it, and Whatnot themselves is very helpful if you want to try. The other thing I could say is, one of the most important things, though, I think is your presence. So maybe watch a variety of different sellers. Okay, forgive me. And you'll see some of the, oh God, be nice. You'll see some of the ones that you're like, yeah, I don't want to do it that way. Okay, let me put it that way. You'll see some of them that are like, no, okay. And you'll make a mental note, okay, don't do that. At least, you know, that'll tell you some things, you know, and then see the ones that you do like the way they operate. Okay.
Everybody does things differently, and you'll you know, take what you want and leave what you don't, and you'll figure it out as you go.
And I do believe Kat has some videos about
She does, yeah.
So there you go. Let me see what time is it. Well, we're not doing too bad. Let me see. I'm fairly new. Let's see. Okay. No, I better not do that. We already did this, right? Okay, we kind of covered that. And it slows down the process of trying. Yeah, we kind of talked about that, you guys. So let me find another one for us. Question. When you are doing research before you list your item and you then get an offer from that buyer, does your decline count against you and your account?
I don't know because I don't accept offers.
I don't think, not that I'm aware of, you guys. Not that we're aware of. Not to say that there's things we don't know about YouTube or eBay's algorithm, anybody's algorithm.
So what Barbara's asking is, if you look at someone's item, then they send you an offer. When you aren't watching the item, if I'm understanding the question.
And then you get an offer from that buyer.
I didn't know that you could send offers to people that aren't watching your item.
Okay, let me try this again.
I think what she means is if you're doing research on an item, what'll happen sometimes is eBay will think you're interested in it and send you and they might send you an offer from that seller to see if you want to buy it, even though you weren't really looking at it to buy it. You were just looking at it for research.
The cookie thing,
yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't think it would hurt you.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think it would hurt you.
No.
Quite frankly, that's so irritating to me because you know how much we all use eBay to do research, and then there you go in your email. Oh, you were looking at this. You know, this one ships for. It's like, ooh, you get inundated in your email with the eBay message.
Yeah, I wouldn't think declining it would do anything.
No,
I don't think it would hurt anything.
Let's see. Let me give one for Jocelyn. Jocelyn doesn't come out very often to do panel shows, so there's one for Jocelyn.
How would you list heavy Louisville pottery dishes and bowls? I would not. I would keep them for myself because I use Louisville pottery dishes and bowls every single day, and I can't seem to find them anywhere. How would I list them? I would list them. What's the button? I need. I would list them one-offs. I don't think I would list them as a set because they're super heavy. That's why I use them because they take a lot for my kids to break them. But they have, and that's why I'm looking for more. Especially if you have any dinner plates, let me know. That's my answer for that one.
Okay. Here's one for me and Jocelyn. I have only I have only watched Yvonne and Jocelyn on YouTube. Well, please renovate a home. Please subscribe to Lindey and Dawn, please. And I wonder why you don't source from estate sales. I do remember Jocelyn going to one a couple years ago.
Because we don't actually have very many estate sales in our area. We don't really have any at all. We had J&D estate sales put on that one estate sale locally. That's the only estate sale company really that we have locally. There's another estate sale company locally. I don't even know the name of it, but from all of like the local, I won't name names, but all the local buyers and resellers locally. From what I hear, they don't price things. And then depending on who brings up the item, they're a little shady about how they price things like, oh, it's you. I'm going to price things extra high. So the way they do business, people don't really agree with. So that's really the only other estate sale company. But we don't really have estate sales. My friend Mary from Merriweather Market, she just moved up from Florida. She was always telling me about all these amazing estate sales down in Florida, but we just don't have them here. We don't really have them at all. So that's why I don't go to estate sales because we don't really have the opportunity to go to them. If there happens to be one and it's a good one, we'll go to it. But my other reason, if we were even to have one, is getting permission to film. A lot of people are sensitive around the fact that, this was this is my grandma's house. You know, I don't really feel comfortable with you filming here. You know, there was a lot. And that's why I don't do yard sales. I don't do garage sales. Estate sales also are a little bit, it's just a little awkward to film at those places. So it would be more of a, I'm going to buy this stuff and then I'm going to film it later type deal. But we just don't really have them in our area. So.
The reason that I don't, we do have a decent amount of estate sales in my area. And I think I popped into one last month or so and made a little video. But the main reason is I am in an area where the thrifting is so fantastic, and especially narrowed down to my town, even a medium-sized town. I literally, there's a main drag through my town. I literally can start at the I can literally start at the start of Academy, which is near the Air Force Academy, right off I-25, and go all the way to the end of town on Academy Boulevard. The first thrift store is right off the highway. That's why I always have George meet me right off the highway. And then boom, 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 all the way down to the other end of town on the same road. And in the middle is where my booth is at, my mall, same street. And it ends up at the bins. I don't even have time to hit all the thrift stores in my own town. And I'm such a big thrifter. I always find good stuff. Estate sales are pricier. They don't like you to film, like Jocelyn said. They don't love it. It's so crowded because you're in somebody's house where they've made a makeshift store. Oh, that's almost a bin scenario, but not dirty. It's like a clean bin scenario. That is also hardcore thrifting, estate sales. Garage sales I'm open to. And I will say I'm probably going to add more garage sales just because thrift stores are raising their prices. Okay.
Can I just mention that if you're watching and you like estate sale video content, I have a ton of it on my channel. That's my specialty area, is estate sale. And I have a video that's called Best Estate Sale Ever, which truly was mind-blowing. It's one of my favorite videos that I've done. So check it out if you're interested.
So Renovative Home, I don't know what your real name is, hon, but there are links for everybody's channel. So yes, you're not going to regret following Dom. You're not going to regret it. So I hope you do. I need to give out a mermaid, and then we got a question for Lindey. But I'm using my mermaids because I'm so excited about them.
My favorite part about that is they blow kisses. That's the best part.
Yeah, it took me a long time to find some decent footage and a merman to make that. So I'm kind of proud of it. And I hadn't posted it on my channel yet. It was pending. And I thought, oh, perfect. We're going to debut that on Kat's. But thank you for the super chats. I'm sure Kat appreciates it. You guys support Kat's channel. This is a great channel, Kat. Kat's a friend of mine. Also, I forgot. Hi, Mom, if you're watching. My mom started watching Kat because she's in love with Dalton. I probably need to run a Dalton clip real quick from my mom. I don't know what that was. Kat, it's not time yet. We still got 8 minutes. Wait a minute. I want to run this for my mom. Where's the Dalton one fishing? That is so funny. Oh, this one. Mom, this is for you. Here's Dalton because he's not here tonight.
So cute.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why. My mom loves Dalton. I love Dalton. And I'll tell you another cutie pie. Of course, we all love watching Jocelyn's kids grow up. But Benjamin, I have not got to see Benjamin for 2 years, Lindey, 2 or 3 years. I hope he's doing fine. And Jared.
Oh, he's doing so good. He is just sweet as peaches.
Oh, please include him the next time you do a video. Please let us.
I will. I need, and I know I keep going dark on YouTube. I genuinely want to continue to put out content. I genuinely do. but I feel like I'm just running myself so ragged. I'm just too tired. And so I'm like, because when you think about doing YouTube, I mean, you guys know, you have to conceptualize, you have to film it, you have to edit it, you have to schedule it, you have to do all the back end. So it's just, it exhausts me to even think about putting together a video.
It takes time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work. So I really want to start putting out videos again. I just have to figure out how to do it. And I will do it sometime soon. And I will make sure Ben is there, because I'm sure everybody that has known Ben since he was super duper little, he's so tall now.
Oh my gosh,
8.
he was just little Benji. I'm gonna die.
He's so tall now, and he's just, he's changed so much, much.
And then speaking of kids, oh my gosh, Jocelyn, Laurel, 1-year-old birthday party already? I was like, wait, what?
I know.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
She loved that cake. She loved it.
Yes, you did. I'm glad you had 2 cakes. I'm glad. So, Lindey, this one's for you, love. If you were to purchase your very first Amazon truckload today, because you've got experience after all your experience, what would you do different?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What would I do different?
That's a good one, Conrad. We watched you switch into that from Dollar Tree gum and candy to truckloads. We watched you. We rode that journey with you.
Man, what would I do differently? So I guess I wouldn't, honestly, I wouldn't do anything different, because I wasn't disappointed in the first truckload I bought. However, nowadays, man, anybody in the chat ever buy a truckload before? Nowadays, buying truckloads is scary. There's so many people out there taking advantage of people now. I see every day in truckload Facebook groups and bin store Facebook groups, people just getting screwed over time and time again for someone promising one thing and delivering another. It is the worst I think it's been in a long time. I've seen a lot of people that have been in the business for a really long time saying that this is the worst time for buying a truckload. So if someone is looking to buy a truckload, like if I were to just buy my first truckload today, what advice would I give to myself? FaceTime and look at the load. If you can't be there to look at the truckload, FaceTime to look at the exact load that you're planning to receive. Take nobody's word for it. But then you also have to understand that even if you see a truckload, just because the top half looks good doesn't mean it's not junk underneath. So it's very, very tricky. Also, if it was my first Amazon truckload, I might go manifested versus unmanifested. Although in my experience, buying unmanifested is just as good usually, and you save a lot of money. So that's kind of how I would approach if I were to buy my first truckload right now. I would want to have someone FaceTime me so that I could see the actual load, or I would travel to see the loads myself. There is also Facebook groups that exist where you can ask the community that's a part of the Facebook group. You can ask them about their experience buying from an individual, and they are very honest. Like if you go say, I just bought a load from, or I am thinking about buying a load from this place, what do you all think? The comments will just blow up with either good news and bad news. So had I known that page existed, I would have probably used that page before just blindly buying a load from somebody. Yeah.
Well, we better say goodbye in a minute, but I had a thought while you were talking. During the pandemic, there was a supply chain problem, and we're still trying to come out of it, quite frankly. So maybe that's why there wasn't so much, the retail stores weren't dumping as much stuff, moving it along to their liquidation to where we could buy it in pallets and stuff. I'm just guessing. I don't do what you do, but I'm just guessing.
Well, I mean, it's definitely different now also because with the pandemic, there was also a surplus of inventory that came onto the market. You know, there was all the shipping containers that were at ports. There was, you know, lots of people buying stuff online because everyone was stuck at home during the pandemic, which caused a lot of returns. And so now, from what I'm learning, the liquidation market is kind of evening back out again. So a lot of people are actually mistaking that for shortages when it's really just the market equalizing a little bit. And so what's happening is a lot of people have open liquidation stores based on the volume of inventory that was on the market a year ago. And now that it's finally evening out, there's all of these stores that need inventory. And so it's basically like warehouses are scraping up all of the junk that they can find just so that they can sell truckloads to people that are willing to buy them.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, you guys, it's that time, but I want everyone to come up and tell you what they have coming on next. You guys, thank you so much for coming. I could keep you here all night, but I do not want to be abusive for my friendships. I appreciate you three so much. Dom, thank you for helping to co-host. We needed another handsome guy, so thank you so much. I appreciate it. Jocelyn and Lindey, you guys are so busy. I cannot thank you enough for doing this, for taking this time to do this for me, for Kat. I really wanted it to be a good one and make her proud of us. So I know that she is. So I'm going to make each one of you big in the round robin, and you guys tell us what you got going on next. Let me drop down this comment real quick though, so it won't be in the way. Forgive me for one moment while I drop this down. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you. Okay, so here's Jocelyn first.
All right. I don't really have a whole lot coming up, just the usual grind, usual videos, sourcing videos, shop videos, the usual stuff. We didn't really take any trips this month, but next month we're going to be doing Cape May. The following month we have, what is it called? We're going to New York. We're going to, can't remember it, but it's Central New York. We're going to check that out for the first time. There is a giant antique show, so I'm really excited for that. And we've got some fun stuff coming up, but for now it's just the usual grind and the usual videos. So oh yeah, paperweights tomorrow. Thank you, Peter. Paperweight.
Oh, yeah. Where Peter debuts with you. Yes.
Yeah, shh, that's a secret.
Oh. My bad. I didn't say
it's
that.
really not that much of a secret. No. Tomorrow is our paperweight sale.
Okay.
Over on Whatnot. And Peter, I mentioned earlier, had done the onboarding yesterday. He's going to be selling for the first time on Whatnot. So that's very exciting. Very exciting for him to have his first sale over there. So he's got some paperweights to sell over there. So we're going to be raiding into his very first sale. And as you know, I reference Peter very often in my videos because he knows glass. So I'm really excited to see what he's got for his sale. But yeah, so that's paperweights tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern on Whatnot.
Thank you again so much.
And everything else going on.
Okay, here comes Lindey.
Hi. What's new, man? What's coming up? So I can't say that I've been the most consistent content creator out there lately, but I promise I did not just up and leave everybody high and dry. There has been so much going on, and I am planning to talk about all of that because there's a lot of lessons to be learned. There's a lot of, there's been good things and there's been bad things that's happened. And all of it is a learning experience. And I do want to share it with everybody. So I'm hoping to have some videos coming up fairly soon. I just need to figure out the logistics of when I'm actually going to be able to film those and kind of how I'm going to be doing that. But in the meantime, I do have a YouTube channel that has been around for a while. So there's a lot of videos that are there. And a lot of them are still, helpful for everything now. So while everybody waits for me to get my ish together, I do have other videos that you could watch. And I promise that I am not like done with YouTube. It's not like I'm just like, okay, bye. I'm just trying to figure my life out, in all honesty. But yeah, there's not really anything huge coming up for me. I'm just really kind of shuffling things around. I'm kind of trying to figure out how to best utilize local sales and using Facebook for that. I heard Dom mentioned something about he wants to get into Shopify, and that reminded me. I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to figure out how to do Shopify as well, so that in the event that Facebook shuts down my Facebook page, I have like my local customers that can just come to my website. So that's also on my list of things to do. And so I'm really hoping that when I can get back to making content, I have a lot of more advanced, useful content. You know, I want to talk more about selling on Facebook. I want to talk more about selling on your own platforms, more local sales. I want to talk about different ways of making money that doesn't necessarily involve having to ship items or use other platforms in order to do that, because I do think that that's kind of something that holds a lot of people back is playing in someone else's sandbox, I guess you could say, you know. Having different ways of reselling where it's you are the person that is in control. And it's really hard to be in control if you're selling on a platform like eBay or Amazon or whatnot. It's really hard to be in control because it's not your sandbox. So I'm trying to navigate and figure all that stuff out. And so when I do start making content again, I'm hoping that it is going to be new, useful content that people will like to watch. So I just got to figure out my stuff. Until then, I'm coming back. I just don't know exactly when that's going to be, but it'll be soon. I promise. It'll be soon.
Oh, awesome, Lindey. Thank you. Okay, and the co-host, Dom.
All right. Well, I just recently dropped a video called Seller Stepped All Over My Items at the Flea Market. So if you want to see that, how that whole incident went down, a lot of people reacted to that one. It was a weird situation. So yeah, that one just dropped recently. And you know, during the summer months, remember, for those who don't know, I live in Syracuse, New York. So, you know, we do get a lot of cold weather. So we have a really narrow opportunity to go out and do garage sale hunting, and I love getting fresh air. So I've been focusing more of my content on garage sale type of videos recently. But for those who have been waiting for another estate sale video, I do have a really awesome one that's going to drop probably next week. So I'm in the process of putting that together. I was at this place that was completely off the grid, like in the middle of nowhere. I literally got there. I was the only one there. I think people might have been nervous even to figure out how to get to this place. And it was incredible. So I can't wait to put that together. So stay tuned. That's going to be dropping soon. And thank you again, Yvon, for inviting me tonight. It's an honor to be on with you and Lindey and Jocelyn. It's been a fun time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me remember how to bring us all back in. All right. Thank you guys so much. I have texted Kat and told her we're almost done so she can come in and end this. That's the superpower I don't have. So thank you so much, you guys. I have live sales on YouTube every Wednesday. I've got some great stuff lined up, some themed items, some special surprises. I post Thrift With Me videos about 3 times a week randomly, just when I can get out, but about 3 times a week at least. And I do a booth talk about once every 3 or 4 months with whoever I can find, you know, to come on and talk about. And I'll be doing some whatnot trains, some fun whatnot trains. I do the little tiny ones where we do half-hour slots, quick and easy. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. I think Kat, I don't know if she's here, but oh, hi, look, there's Aston. Hi there. They probably want their mom back, huh? Okay, thanks for letting me have your mom tonight. Okay, so let's see. I don't know if Kat's here. I'll go ahead and plug in the outro, though, you guys. Thank you so much, panel. Thank you so much, side chat. Thank you so much, mods. All right, keep your love.